So if you're new to Total War or you just suck at campaigns, maybe you're not really sure where and when to expand your empire, which can lead to poorly built provinces and all kinds of problems. At the simplest level, Total War campaigns are a game of gathering provinces to fund your armies. Now, let's make sure we understand exactly what a province is first. So when you start any campaign, you'll likely have a settlement or region. In this case for Azag, we've got Kazid Urkulaz, and as titled here, it's in the province of the Northern World's Edge Mountains, along with Karak Ungor and Karak Raziak. Those three make up the province of the Northern World's Edge Mountains, right? So the first goal of any campaign is to capture your first province, which means, in this case, taking these two settlements. And the map overall is just made up of hundreds of these provinces, which you can see by zooming out on the map. Here's the Peak Pass province that Ungrim needs to take first, Southern Sylvania, Northern Sylvania that the vampires need to get, Solent for the Golden Order, all these provinces just owned by different factions. So as I say, you'll just want to try and take your starting province wherever your first settlement is, look at what the other settlements are and go after them. Once you've got those, usually 2 to 4 settlements in a province, sometimes a province can be a single settlement like Kislev. This is where you can really start to work on it, building up its defenses and economy. You'll also unlock the commandment, giving you a buff to the province in whichever way you see fit. We'll go into province building in a separate video. For now though, we end up with a decision once we've taken our first province. If you're new to the game, you might feel a bit stuck on knowing where to go next, because there's so many options for most campaigns. In the case of Azag, you are plonked in the middle of a load of factions, so you can literally go any direction you like, really, northeast, southwest, wherever. If you're looking to traditionally win the campaign, then you may have a certain direction you need to go, otherwise you can just sandbox and go wherever the hell you like. If you actually want to win and finish a campaign, you can check your victory conditions and see if it sounds like something you want to do. In the case of Azag here, you've got to take a bunch of provinces to the west and sack a bunch of settlements, but that's just a short victory campaign that won't actually get you a complete campaign, so you kind of need to go for the long ones. But still, for Azag, if you want to get the proper victory, you'll need to go west-northwest. This means that if you were to push out east instead, you probably wouldn't be getting very far on your victory conditions. But as I say, it's a sandbox, you're not doing anything wrong if you don't go after the victory conditions. It's entirely up to you. So that hopefully gives you an idea of what you're supposed to be doing, going from province to province. In the case of Azag here, I'm going to come here next. I've taken my first province, I want to move on to start taking a second one. I'm going to go a little bit south after Peak Pass because it's one of my victory condition provinces anyway, and the dwarves can be particularly hard to deal with if you let them grow, especially if they're a legendary lord. So we're going to come and try to take out Ungrim first. So we'll come around here, I'm going to take Karak Kadrin first of all. And then I'm going to move on to take Nashrak's Lair because those two settlements are in the province of Peak Pass. So I need them both to complete the province. What I don't want to do is come around here, go to take Karak Kadrin, and then go off in a different direction and come back out here. This would leave me with a broken province, which is not what we want for reasons I will discuss later. And it would also leave Karak Kadrin alive, who may come back on you and try to reclaim Karak Kadrin. So we need to take both, and then we can move on to another province. We're looking just to bounce from province to province, taking one at a time. You don't really want to take more than that until you've got more armies later on in the game. Maybe at first, when you've got one army, just focus on taking one province at a time. And realize if you do want to take and occupy a settlement, you kind of need to commit to taking the entire province. Otherwise, you'll end up with broken provinces that can be problematic and honestly not much use sometimes. Now that being said, there are times and places where broken provinces can be useful. Here in this Imrik campaign, I've got my starting province, I've got the Dragon Isles off Kugath, and I do have this one random settlement of the Broken Teeth province. And I have no intention of getting these other two settlements. Why? Because Nagashizar here is controlled by a random Skaven faction that has a 20 garrison and a full stack there of pretty tough units, so that's going to take some work to get through that. So that's a difficult thing to try and do early on. And also Clan Moors has the other place. I did control this earlier on, but Clan Moors came and took it, so it's just too much trouble to try and take this entire province right now. And generally, the reason you don't want broken provinces is because you won't be able to build the necessary buildings to sort out the public order, to grow the province, or to make any money, so it's just difficult to defend and to avoid rebellion. But I'm going to hold on to it for as long as possible because it acts as a kind of signal fire to let me know if the enemy is coming. If Clan Moors decides to come down here and take it, they can take it for all I care. I really don't care about the settlement, but it just lets me know that they're coming and gives me that little bit of time to prepare a defense so I can defend my full provinces. Another example of where to use a broken province, a random settlement that you've acquired that you don't want to go after the province of, could be something like this. In this campaign for Marcus Wolfhard, I've got my first province, no problem. I'm pushing north to take a second province, that's going fine. But along the way, I've taken out some Skaven, and I've acquired this random settlement that I could have sacked and razed just for some money, but I decided to occupy it even though I have no intention of taking this entire province of the Jungles of Green Mist, because it's occupied by some Dark Elves that I'm on my way to being mildly friendly with. So I can use that settlement as a kind of bargaining chip to get what I want out of them. I'm not going to put any money into developing it, but what I can do is trade it to them. This can be a good way to make allies, get non-aggression pacts, to get whatever you want out of a faction potentially, maybe even peace if you're at war with somebody. But I'm just going to give this to these Dark Elves in a bid to get a non-aggression pact with them and also milk them for a little bit of money. Because as I say, I don't really want to have to go into a war with them to try and take the rest of the province, because I've already got a war in the north, I've already got wars coming in the south, so I'm just trying to manage the amount of wars I'm in, and using this settlement as a bargaining chip is a great way to do that. So there's various ways which you can do this, whether it's giving it to somebody to try and make them an ally, or giving it to an existing ally so that they can maybe better protect you from a certain side. In this case, it kind of protects me from this region. I don't need to worry about them attacking me. I can just push to my north, get these greenskins done. There's going to be some Vampire Coast down here maybe coming for me. I can go after them, maybe go after this Siege faction here. But for now, I know I don't have to worry about the west, but later on, once I've got these wars tied up, maybe I will want to take that province and go after those Dark Elves. For now though, non-aggression is fine. So that's a couple of ways you could make use of random settlements that you've acquired. Now to the dangers of over-expansion, or expanding too quickly rather. You can see here in this Grimgore campaign, I've got a fair bit of territory, right? A handful of provinces, mostly in my starting region, but I've come over to Cathay now because, well, I want to take Cathay and bring the Green Tide in. I'm going to start pushing through, taking all this stuff. But be wary of that mentality of, I'm going to take everything as quickly as possible. Yeah, because that's where problems start. As an example, I've got Grimgore here with a full healthy army ready to go. I'm halfway to a War as well, which will give me even more steamrolling power. So at this point, I could start bouncing from settlement to settlement of Miao Ying, taking it all as I go, occupying and just quickly growing my landmass. But what I'll have is much like what I have here. I've only just taken this province of Gunpowder Road with Nangao and Nanli, and as you can see, I've pretty much got nothing here. I've got 2 growth buildings, I'm not making any money, there's no defenses, there's no army there to be able to defend it, so there's a big risk that when I run over here to start taking stuff, there could be an army hidden somewhere up here that'll just come down and start taking the settlements I've already taken, and thus I'll be taking 1 step forward and 2 steps back. My enemies from the north here might come down, so again, same issue. Long story short, I will likely struggle to defend a lot of provinces if I take them quickly and I don't have the money or development to support them. So the main 3 problems of underdeveloped provinces, first of all, public order. If you don't have that under control, you're going to get rebellion. If you're just taking a province and then moving on, the public order is probably going to be a mess and you'll likely get some rebellions to deal with. And then, as I just mentioned, the issue of defense. If you take a lot of land quickly but you don't have the armies to protect it, you're likely going to be losing settlements here and there. Defense comes in the form of literally just building armies to defend it, or by building garrison buildings to give extra units to the garrison. And this all ties into the final point of money. If you can make some money from the provinces that you're taking, you can then afford to build those armies, to build those extra buildings, to increase the growth. Whatever you need to do, it all starts with money. And just as an example here, as I just showed, I've taken this province. I've not got a lot here at the moment though, but I'm upgrading both of the settlements, waiting around a few turns just to defend this while it upgrades these things and gets me some defenses for it, some money, everything else. Then I can move on maybe. Down here I've got the Warpstone Desert province, which is slightly more developed. As you can see, it's still a pretty fresh province for me, but I've got it moving along. It's got some income buildings. I've got this defense building for the most southern region because that's the one that's most likely to be attacked. I've got a growth building coming along. I've also got a little army stationed there as well for extra safety. It's very cheap, it's mostly goblins, but it's doing the job of adding a little protection layer. My next step is going to be building a public order building to get that under control. For now, the army is doing the job okay, but I've got the public order sorted, I've got some defense, I've got some money coming in. But alas, yes, it is a broken province because I'm not at war with Zhao Ming at the moment, so I'm trying to keep it that way until I've dealt with Miao Ying. For now, the province is growing okay despite missing one of the settlements. So I'm going to try and do a similar thing here and then move on. So to quickly summarize, take 1 province at a time, at least at first. Don't just randomly take settlements all over the place, aim for the provinces. Maybe look at your victory conditions to find which direction you might want to go in, or you can just go wherever the hell you want. And then try to avoid broken provinces. Try to get the whole region as one to make it the most profitable and the most useful to you. Although you never know, one random settlement might be of some use as a bargaining chip or whatever else. And lastly, be careful of overexpansion. Don't take stuff too quickly, you'll find that you won't be able to maintain it very well, and you possibly might lose the settlements to other factions or to rebels. But there we go, I hope you've enjoyed this, thanks for watching, I will see you in the future.